If you're anything like me, when you walk out of the cinema after seeing a movie you really enjoyed, you'll go home and obsess over it. You want to know everything about it. Who the actors are, how it was made, what its budget was, and maybe most importantly, who made it. So you can imagine my surprise when I discovered that the best horror film I've seen in years was written and directed by the same two men that were responsible for this.
You alright, Ron? I'll help you.
This is Raka Raka, a pair of Greek-Australian semi-disgraced YouTubers more formerly known as Danny and Michael Philippou. These guys used to make a living on YouTube making violent and comedic videos featuring Pokemon, Jedi, and yes, that's Ronald McDonald.
I've had a taste, and I have to show.
But more recently, these twin brothers are responsible for A24's second biggest box office opening weekend ever with their new indie horror movie, Talk to Me. Let's just get straight into it then. This movie is fucking awesome. The first thing you notice when it begins is that it does indeed take place in Australia, which is obviously not where most box office wonders are set, but that matters for approximately 10 seconds and then you get used to the accents. And I'm happy to report here that Australian actors aren't only limited to talking about sharks in the water and chucking things in the barbecue. This cast is extremely talented. And before I get absolutely persecuted in the comments, yes, I am from Scotland, and yes, we do wear kilts and play the bagpipes every day. Talk to Me follows Mia, a high schooler whose mum has passed away and she now lives with her dad, who she hates for some reason. And by the way, even by the end of the film, I haven't figured out why that is. Maybe it's just cooler to hate your dad, I don't know. Anyway, Mia and her friends find themselves to be in possession of a magical hand that lets them speak to the dead. Well, not really. What's actually going on is that allows the dead to possess your body and control you, whilst your friends get high and laugh hysterically while you French kiss a bulldog. Yep, and it's perfectly safe too. The only rule is that someone else has to grab the hand from your possessed body before 90 seconds is up.
What happens after 90 seconds?
Oh, not much. Just that you'll be haunted every waking second for the rest of your life. 10 points to Gryffindor if you can see where this one's going. So no, it doesn't sound super original. A bunch of teenagers partake in some spooky shit and they either take it too far or disrespect the rules laid out to them. We've seen it all before. But somehow, Raka Raka found a way to make this one just work. Like, really work. This is by far the best horror movie I've seen in theatres in recent memory. Not that that's too terribly hard. Russell Crowe, I love you, and I'm sorry. But what the f***? So what makes Talk to Me so good? Well, like any great movie, it's a mix of many things. The performances here are all spectacular, which is crazy given I've only ever even heard of one of these actors before. The cinematography also feels very refreshing, but most importantly, the plot is engaging and it keeps you guessing the entire way through the movie. Importantly though, although there is a sense of mystery, it doesn't get too confusing. Like I said, it engages you, but there are only a few ways things could really go, so you're constantly looking for clues or hints as to try and get ahead of the curve. And personally, I think that's a big reason as to why I enjoyed it so much. It felt like the Philippou brothers were playing a game and they invited me to join in. It would be criminal of me to make a video on this movie and not speak about the performances. Everybody knocks it out of the park here. Literally every main actor in this movie delivers in every single scene. I think like in all good movies, it's a combination of the writing and the acting, but everything just seems so believable. Miranda Otto, who plays a mother in this movie, is just so good. From having a laugh with her kids, to getting pissed off with them, to trying to discover whether or not they're going to be hosting a party, to basically grieving, everything just seems so goddamn real. Also, Sophie Wilde does such a phenomenal job at carrying this movie, playing Mia through her slow descent into madness. And big shout out to the makeup department here. The dead people that you see in this movie look absolutely revolting and just make you wanna... Plus, there are parts of this movie that are pretty gory, but I wouldn't say they go too far. For example, you couldn't compare it to Evil Dead Rise. And although that movie is good fun, unless you're an absolute sociopath, nobody is going to enjoy watching someone slice up their cheek with a cheese grater. My point is that everything here looks how you would expect it to look. The gore looks gross and the dead people look dead. This becomes even more impressive when you discover the budget for this movie was only $4.5 million. One of the dead spirits is a lady who's clearly died underwater and is more bloated than Jabba the Hutt, and she just looks the worst. And later in the film, she's even sucking on somebody's feet, and I don't think I'll ever get that image out of my head for as long as I live. Ultimately though, if I had to sum it up, I would just say that this movie feels fresh. Too often Hollywood spits out another generic horror movie that nobody gives a fuck about but that everyone will go and see anyway, including me, because we all love a good jump scare. But what separates this one from films like the kind of dog shit that is Pope's Exorcist is that it feels like it was made with passion and love. And audiences aren't dumb, they can feel that.
Keep it straight. Keep the camera straight. Thank you.
So how do Raka Raka go from making demonetized YouTube videos about a psychotic fast food mascot to creating a worldwide box office success? Okay, so maybe they haven't changed that much. But regardless, the two have quietly snuck into the Australian film scene with credits on IMDb on various movies, even working on cult classic The Babadook. The story of the Philippou brothers is inspiring and it sends a beautiful message to YouTubers all over the world. Here are two men who clearly have a long-standing passion for creating art and have matured alongside their channel, learning things along the way, and have now made a name for themselves around the world. It proves that anyone can make it if they work hard enough, and I hope it inspires even more YouTubers to go out into the world and make films of their own. Have they made a perfect movie? No. It suffers from a few heavy-handed moments, sure, but what is perfect? Is your partner perfect? Are your kids perfect? Hell, is your face perfect? Unless you're Hugh Jackman, probably not, but we're grateful for these things anyway, and that's what makes it so special. So if you haven't already, get off your ass and go see Talk to Me. It's something worth listening to. Catch.